That's right, ladies and gentlemen. It is Commissioner Cooper, and we're in hot Atlanta tonight to get dirty with the birds, the Atlanta Falcons. I hope you're all excited. Let's get it going. It's time for TSS Fantasy. Yeah!
It worked for The Rock, and it's going to work for me.
And you just got slandering.
That's what it is! This court is adjourned.
It is Commissioner Cooper.
Welcome to Sophistication Station.
I'm here to save your fantasy roster.
And it's time for TSS Fantasy. All right, let's get this thing started. We are excited to be in hot Atlanta tonight. Let's get the intros going. Welcome to the studio, Justin Jesus Herrera.
So, guys, today I've decided to be a little creative with it. I am now on location in the nightmares of every Falcons fan. This is what they go to bed thinking about during football season. We were so damn close. It was the third quarter. 2 minutes left.
Wow. He's got the laugh even going tonight. This guy has been evil in this whole tour for the NFC South. I can't believe it. Judge Jordan, welcome in the studio.
Hey, man, I feel like Justin's just doing, what he can to compensate for the loss of Flanders. We haven't had him around to, naysay on every fan base. So we need that guy on the team. But, I'll preach some positivity. Let's go Dirty Birds. I think the Falcons are the only team with a bird in the NFL I like in the first place. So, yeah, let's go.
Maggie T said, old news, Justin. That's old news. They ain't worried about that no more. We're on to new things. All right, well, if you're looking for some fantasy advice, go to tssfantasy.com. You can check out all of our latest and greatest rankings. Also, go to Underdog Fantasy. Use the promo code TSS. We'll double that deposit up to $100. Ooh-wee. Nothing like some free cash. Also, go to Jazz Sportsbook. We like I said, lots of promos there, and they're different every week, so I can't keep up with it. Just use the promo code TSS, and there'll be some kind of hookup, I promise. And also, don't forget, if you're looking for some championship bling for your fantasy champion, go to, I can't even remember, Pro-Am Belts. They got all the latest and greatest for your championship bling. All right, fellas, I'm going to bid you adieu. By the way, Lock-In Sports said that's big facts. That's old news. We're gonna bid you adieu. We're gonna say hello to the doc, and we'll see you guys here in the third segment. We'll be back. The doctor is in. We're in hot Atlanta tonight. We're talking about the Atlanta Dirty Bird Falcons. Welcome in, Doc. What's up on the house call?
Hey, thank you much. So we can't talk about the Falcons without starting with my boy Kyle Pitts. So he had a disappointing sophomore season, right? Playing in just 10 games before that grade 2 MCL sprain and subsequent November surgery ended his season. So again, MCL runs north-south on the inside of the knee to stabilize it, and that shut him down after that November surgery. The story is that he's expected to be fully recovered from that injury and ready for week 1. So even though he only played 10 games last season, he didn't miss a game as a rookie. We're going to give Kyle Pitts 55% of the bench. Moving on to Drake London. He played all 17 games as a rookie. That's our only data point. So we're going to call him 5% of the bench, and I'm hoping we get to see his skill set showcased a little bit more this season than last. And lastly, Bijan Robinson. So he was the number 8 pick in the draft. We don't have any NFL data to go by on him, except for a 2021 elbow dislocation that ended his season at Texas. There's nothing meaningful on him. So it's tough to predict injury risk with this guy. Accordingly, we're going to go with the NFL running back average of 62% he misses one game this season.
I love it. Going back to the average. I haven't heard that one all summer, man. I love it. Going back to it. Listen, Bijan's going to be their workhorse, so it's certainly possible he could be seeing that bench a little bit this year. All right, well, Doc, we appreciate you closing out the NFC South. We'll see you next week. We're going to the AFC North. See you then, Doc. All right, I see in the comments already. They're like, "Where are all the Falcon fans at? They ain't trying to see the Doc. Where all my people at?" All right, let's bring in the Falcons fans. So let's bring this puppy going.
Our next stop on our summer tour, we welcome you to Atlanta, where the players play. Get ready for the Dirty Birds of the Atlanta Falcons.
Let's go, Dirty Birds. Here we go. All right, well, let's go in order here. From my left, you could say, Ladarius Brown. Welcome into the studio, my friend.
Hey, how are you guys?
We're doing great. Appreciate you being here. Excited to bring it for you tonight. Blackberry LA Rex. Welcome into the studio, my friend.
That's Blackberry Rex, home team, home team. Y'all know what time it is. Let's get it. Let's get to it. Let's get it done.
Let's get it. Appreciate you, Coach. Welcome into the studio, my friend.
What's up? What's up? What's up? Let's get this thing started, man. It's time to do it now.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Keith, friend of the show, been here quite a few times. We welcome you back in. Welcome, my friend from Fantasy and Frames.
What's going on, man? Ready to talk the team that has brought me some joy and a lot of heartbreak over 30 plus years. But I do want to say that Falcons fans are the best. We get a bad rap. You look at all, we've been put through over the years. Everybody talks Super Bowl. We had the NFC title game in 2012. Harry Douglas got tripped. And we keep coming back for more. They're good fans. They're there. And I think they get a really unfair rap. A lot of people say they're, fair weather, whatever. The Falcons fans I know in my life are true to the team. And hopefully one day we will get that Super Bowl win. But until that, we'll stay behind our team. We're loyal, man.
Listen, I'm going to say this. Anytime I've taken I have a little cabin up in the mountains, and, every time there's an Atlanta game or something, I'm stuck on the highways. I don't know what you're talking about, fair weather. I feel like they're always got Atlanta fans going on. So, yeah, absolutely. All right, well, let's get it started. We were just talking about, we're talking about last season, right? We got to start with that. I don't want to take too much time on it because it's not as depressing as I started to look at it. You guys finished 7-10. You were fourth in the NFC South, but you just had the tiebreaker with the Saints. Offensively, this is where a little bit of the struggle was, but points per game, they had you 15th in the league overall, which wasn't too shabby. Yards per game, 24th in the league, 318.6. Passing yards per game, 31st in the league. That's obviously where the struggle was, 158.8. Rush yards per game, though, that's, of course, the silver lining. Second in the league, 159.9, and it gets even juicier this year. We know that. Defensively, a bit of a struggle, right? So points per game, 22.7. That puts you 21st in the league. Yards against, 362.1. I can't spit it out. 26th in the league. Passing yards per game, 231.9. That puts you at 25th. Rush yards per game, 130.2. That puts you at 23rd. So a lot of 20s in the defensive stats. Obviously, that's kind of the bugaboo of this team a little bit. Offensively, though, not too shabby. Got a little bit to build on. Let's go to Ladarius. I'll go to you first. We'll work it around the room. 3 words or less. Sum up last year and expand on it for me.
Sure. Oh, boy. I had some time to think about it. I'm going to say really close calls. To me, when I look at this team last year, 7-10, I could make a case we could have been 9-8, maybe even 10-7. If you go back to Marcus Marion, we played the Rams through that, I don't know, interception to, I guess somebody was open in the middle of the field. I don't know who it was. And you had, with the Chargers game, we had down the field, we had kind of had that game as well. I just think with this kind of team, it was just a lot of youth and a lot of close calls that could have made the difference between maybe contending and winning the NFC South as opposed to tying and going 7-10.
All right, yeah, love it. I love it. All right, let's go. Let's go next. Let's go. Lock in Sports says 15th is in the middle of the pack and second in running, last passing. Jeesh. I feel you there. Absolutely. All right, let's go to Blackberry. You're up next, my friend. Give me 3 words or less and then expand on it for me.
Building the foundation. This what we're doing with this regime that we have now under Arthur Smith and General Manager Terry Fontenot is building a foundation that we can rely on that's going to be solid for now and for the future. We saw that with the running game. We saw that with the offensive line and the way that they're building solid defensive fronts, being second in the NFL in second halves and allowing points all season with 7.9 points a game in the second half. That's building the foundation.
I like it. Building the foundation. That's how you build championship teams. I love it. Coach, what say you, my friend? 3 words or less. Expand on it for me.
Last year, okay. That's my 3 words. Check it out. This team here has done something we haven't seen in a long time. We improved on defense dramatically. And with that being said, we know the offense can score. We know that already. So this defense is going to do a lot more to stop the game. So this run game is going to be very, very dangerous now because we can stop teams in their tracks now. So what else we got to say about it? Go Birds.
I like it. Let's get it fired up. All right, let's go, Keith. Let's talk. Give me 3 words or less from last year and expand on it for me.
We're in a rebuild. This team, really, if you look at it, it's phenomenal what Arthur Smith has done the last 2 years. Talent-wise, there wasn't a lot there. And to go 7-10 the last 2 years with, let's be honest, a Matt Ryan that was washed. I didn't want to say that, but we saw in Indy last year. He just, his time had came. Ryan was great, but he was over the hill. And then last year to win 7 games with Mariota at QB, I mean, he only 59% of his passes to our star tight end were catchable. I mean, he was horrible. He was 33rd in money throws, 31st in completion percentage. Yet we still went 7-10. And I love what this front office is doing because I think TD put this team in a terrible position by missing draft after draft on guys. And there's been a change. And I really do see an uptick in this. I believe Arthur Smith is a really good head coach. I'm hopeful that Desmond Ridder is going to be – I think he just needs to be an above-average QB, and this offense is going to be electric this year. And the questions are the defense, and that's fair. But what I like to see is we're making better draft picks. They're doing better free agent signings. We're building a team with an identity, which we really haven't had in a long time. We're a team that runs the ball. We know how we're going to try to win games. And, I think one of the other guys said we were in almost every game, which look at the roster. I mean, we only had Cal Pitts for 10 games. Our only other receiver was Drake London, period. Not a lot of talent up front. We got no pass rush. Grady Jarrett was basically our only real force in the front 4, but yet we were in games. And I think that's a combination of coaching and guys, improving as the year went on. And I really do. I'm as hopeful as a Falcons fan as I've been in a long time, just with the process and seeing what this team is trying to accomplish and do. And they're doing a good job of building a team for the future, but also being competitive, which is just, you can't ask for anything more as a fan.
Absolutely. And listen, I mean, like you guys, Coach mentioned it, kind of little segued a little bit already to it. Guys, we talked about what was already. Let's talk about what is going into this season. There was some great additions to that defense that we said struggled last year. Jesse Bates, a safety, has come over. Calais Campbell. I mean, and offensively, I was jokingly put Matt Collins in there a little bit, but Matt Collins actually played for America's team, the Miami Dolphins. And I got to tell you, man, I like him. I like Matt Collins. I like his effort. I like the way he plays. You did also add Jonnu Smith as well, so you could go nice double tight end set as well. So, again, lots of exciting stuff going on with this Atlanta offense and defense, actually. Subtractions, Marcus Mariota, Okay. Isaiah
Was that a
Oliver.
subtraction?
I drove him to the airport, just so you know.
Addition
No.
by subtraction is what they say. Isaiah Oliver gone at cornerback. Olamide Zaikis, wide receiver, longtime Atlanta Falcons, gone as well. All right, let's talk about the draft. Bijan Robinson, obviously the first pick, running back out of Texas. Pick number 2, good as well. Matthew Bergeron, offensive tackle from Syracuse. You got Zach Harrison, edge rusher from Ohio State in round 3. Round 4, Clark Phillips, cornerback out of Utah. And 2 round 7 picks, DeMarco Halams, the safety from Alabama, and Jovan Gwynn, guard out of South Carolina. So again, we already talked about what was. Let's talk about what is. Keith, I'll start with you. Let's go opposite order. Tell me what's going to go on with these Atlanta Falcons this year. Give me a prediction. Tell me why.
Well, we're going to be very good offensively. There's no doubt about that. Again, it's going to depend how good on Desmond Ridder, but I don't think enough was talked about that he made 4 starts at the end of the year. He did not throw an interception. He seemed to get better in each and every game. What I like about him is he reminds me a little bit of a Dak Prescott in the mold that he's mobile. He won in college at a program that had never won at that rate. So he's a winner. He's a leader. You know that. Everything we've heard from the front office, his teammates, et cetera, they believe in him. I'm most excited to see that he has bulked up tremendously because that's my biggest concern about him was he was kind of frail. But, I mean, we're going to be able to run the ball. We know that. Arthur Smith, I mean, it's unbelievable what we have done in his tenure here. First year, we bring in Cordell Patterson. He's not even a running back. He has 1,000 yards. He's a Pro Bowler. Last year, we drafted a 6th-rounder, Tyler Algier. He busts 1,000 yards and really didn't even see significant snaps the last third of the season. Drake London was a great pick. I think that you're going to see London with a better quarterback really develop. But it's all about Kyle Pitts this year. I'm just trying to tell people I'm shocked, and I get it for fantasy value. I know people are hurt. I was hurt. I was the biggest guy pumping that Kyle Pitts train last year, and it was a bad year, but it was Marcus Mariota. It was not Kyle Pitts. Pitts, he was, despite playing 10 games and having Marcus Mariota, 2nd in target share, 1st in air yards, 1st in air yard rate, 1st in average cushion for tight end. 59% of his passes were catchable. 59. So basically 5.9 out of every 10. He could even get his hands on. He was 1st at tight end at deep targets, unrealized air yards. He played 10 games. He is going to have a monster year. You look at what happened with Drake London when he went from Mariota to Ridder. His 4 games with Ridder, with Ridder, he had 36 targets, 25 receptions, 300 yards. His top 2 games for receiving, both with Ridder. With Mariota in 13 games, he only had 47 receptions. So he had more than half of his receptions in the 4 games without Mariota and over a third of his receiving yards. And this is no disrespect to London because I think London's a great player, but Pitts is a difference maker. I think he's going to have a monster year, especially when we're going to be able to run the ball like crazy with Patterson, Robinson, Algier. And I can't wait to see what Arthur Smith does with this offense because I think we're going to see actually 1 wide receiver, 2 tight ends, and they're going to have some combination of 2 of those backs on the field at the same time. We know Cordell Patterson is a great receiving back. Bijan Robinson was a great receiving back in college. I can't wait for all that. Having said that, I'm very worried about the defense. I still am. I like the moves that they made. I still think we should have taken Jalen Carter with the pick. It's nothing against Bijan Robinson. It's just I think Carter would have made a bigger difference to this team. And more importantly, running back is a position, not a value, especially for this team that, again, we had Cordell Patterson and Tyler Algier, who nobody knew who they were, basically have Pro Bowl years in this offense. But we're past that. It is what it is. We just need to hope the defense can do a little. The offense, though, is going to be great. And I'm very, very excited to see all these super talented guys on the field at the same time. They're huge. I mean, Bijan's a big dude. Obviously, Pitts and London are massive. It's going to be mismatched galore. And Janu Smith's a big target, too. I just think we're going to be able to cause a lot of problems for defenses this year.
I love it. Keith's got no ill will on that draft pick. You can tell. All right, Coach, what say you, my friend? Give me a prediction about this season. Tell me why.
This season here, I say no less. This is my own personal 12 games, at least 12 games this year. However, it depends on health. The health can be very important. If we can stay healthy, we will get to that point. But anything can happen. However, the person who will be more important in this team, I still think is going to be the run game. Kyle Pitts, yes, he's going to get his targets, but this run game is going to dictate this whole league because we're going to slow the game down. We're going to control the game. We don't want to throw the ball to him. He can probably, 30 passes? He got a lot of people to share that ball with. So Kyle's going to get his number. He's going to get his catches, whatever, but he's not going to be the main target on this offense. I think everybody's going to be a main target, myself. Because who are you going to stop? You can't double team everybody. If you double team Kyle, somebody else is open. So anything that happens to this team here, man, it's going to be all a team effort. It ain't going to be just a one-person effort. So, but the defense is going to be probably the most impressive defense we've seen in a long time in Atlanta. I think with the addition of the coach, Brian Nielsen, and bringing David Ardemont, people don't realize this kid here, if you look at film on this kid, he is, I'm not going to call him a Jalen Carter, but he's a Jalen Carter type player. He's very disruptive in the pass rush. And bringing his teammate, his ex-teammate, Caden Ellis in, man, it's going to be dangerous because our defense right now is pretty much shot because they know how to help these other guys who don't know this defense get used to this defense faster than it was if they just came in off the streets or whatever. So Atlanta's going to be a team to be reckoned with this year. So people beware. Jump on this wagon right now. Like I said the other day, we're heading west. Nevada, here we come.
Coach is calling Super Bowl for this Atlanta Falcons team. All right, Blackberry, what do you say, my friend? What? Give me a prediction. Are you as bold as Coach to say Super Bowl, Nevada?
I am. I'm as bold to say that that's the goal. I'm as bold to say that that's what our head coach is expecting us to be fighting towards come January, because he said it himself. Plans on playing 20 to 21 games. So I'm bold enough to say it because my coach bold enough to say it. And because I see what this team is doing. I'm right along with Coach. I see this team winning up to, I think they could win up to 14 games. If I'm being practical, I'm right along with Coach somewhere around 12. I'm talking defense. And defense, baby, is what I'm talking. Because this team was second in the league. I mentioned this before. I take that back. They were first in the league in second half defense, only giving up 7.9 points a game. That's something that's going under the radar here that doesn't get talked about much. And when you think about the acquisitions that we have on this defense now, Calais Campbell, David Onyemata, we got Big Eddie Goldman in the middle. Of course, Jesse Bates. We got some quality picks and guys like Hart Phillips III, who is a pick six waiting to happen. And I think a guy like Jared Gray, who we got from Green Bay, he can tap into this young secondary. He can tap into the potential of a guy like Jeff Okudah, who was picked in the first round right along with AJ Terrell. He can, bar he stay healthy, like Coach said. Bar he stay healthy, Jeff Okudah, Jared Gray just might be the cornerback whisperer for Jeff Okudah, along with some other guys like Mike Hughes. So when I look at the interior pressure that we should be able to get throughout the entire game, and not just in second halves where we were the best defense in football, we can now transition a lot of that from the second half to the first half. And baby, it's finna be all day sack day in Atlanta, baby.
Ooh,
trust me.
Brian
Nielsen gonna do that.
The Dirty Birds are fired up tonight. All right, Ladarius, are you Super Bowl bound? What do you say, my friend?
Listen, I'm not going to go against the coach. I'm not. It's a personal belief of mine. I'm not going to go against the coach.
You're running laps.
I don't want to run laps because at this rate I might pull something. So I'm not going to run any. So when I look at this team, those are very reasonable expectations. And here's the thing: when I look at this offense, it feels positionless, but this position by name. When you look at Bijan Robinson, he's a running back by name, but Bijan may not necessarily be in the backfield. You're going to see Bijan line up on the outside. You're going to see possibly, more than likely, Algier's going to probably be the guy in the backfield. 1,000-yard rusher. A lot of people tend to forget that.
Exactly.
And I look at, we talked about Kyle Pitts ad nauseum, but his importance to this offense, to me, I've said this many times, he's a wide receiver in tight ends clothing. He has the athleticism. If he's healthy, listen, I think the Doc talked about it. We talked about it here. He missed 7 games. And imagine him fully healthy. We could be having a different conversation about the Falcons last year. Mm-hmm. But when he went out, things kind of, we were still in it, but things kind of, like I mentioned earlier, close calls and things of that nature. But to me, the X factors are, I look at Desmond Ridder and I look at our defense coordinator, Ryan Nielsen. To me, I'm pro Desmond Ridder. I hear a lot of talk like, oh, Desmond may not be. No, I liked what I saw from Desmond Ridder the last 4 games. I think that was enough tape for me to say we could have a shot. Desmond Ridder does not have to be Patrick Mahomes. He does not have to be a guy. He's not going to listen. He's not going to get 4. He's not going to be a 5,000, 4,000 yard passer. Like if you're looking for that, then I can't help you. I don't know why. But to me, Desmond Ridder, if we use kind of another sport here, he's the point guard, and he has a lot of he distributes the ball. You got Pitts, you got London, you got Bijan, and then you got Algier. And then, and to talk about this draft, I really love the pick of Bergeron from Syracuse. I really love that pick because it addressed an imminent need I felt. I feel like he could probably, more than likely, he may be a guard. He may shift to left guard depending on, but I think he's going to be a starter on that offensive line. This is a top 10 offensive line. And to this point, with all this defense, I feel like Harper, I mean, the way he slipped in value and Terry Fontenot just grabbed him, I just, there's a lot of optimism, and it's fair because, let's face the facts, we're in the NFC South. So this division, I feel like we have the talent to get this, to win this division. And listen, why not? I've always said, why not have that run? Yep. Because the reality is, hey, we have the pieces. If that defense can just take that next step, like we showed signs of last year. I mean, double-digit wins is not out of the realm of possibility, and even beyond. To this point, I'm gonna go with Coach, and we're gonna head west, and we're gonna go to Nevada. So I got to hook up with Coach, and listen, why not? This roster's good enough, and it's the NFC, so why not?
The Dirty South, might as well call it the Dirty Southwest, ladies and gentlemen, because they are on their way. All right, listen, I want y'all to keep all this big game energy, right? Because we're going to go fantasy quiz show, Falcons edition. I'm going to test your Falcons knowledge. Let's go Ladarius Blackberry on one side, Coach and Keith on the other. This amounts to Family Feud, basically. You'll have your top answers on the board. I'll basically have you go against each other, like Darius and Coach will be first. I'll ask the first question. Whoever shouts out the highest answer will get control for their team. You'll have 3 strikes. If you get the 3 strikes, the other team gets a chance to steal. Pretty easy breezy. We're going to test that knowledge tonight. Let's get it. It's time for the Fantasy Quiz Show.
There seems to be no sign of intelligence.
It's the Fantasy Quiz Show.
Justin Jefferson.
Justin Jefferson. It's gonna be a long game.
Not going to be a long game tonight because we got Falcons experts in the building tonight. Let's get it started. Like I said, Ladarius and Coach, you are against each other first. Here we go. Top 5 answers on the board. Here is your question. I'm going all-time Atlanta history. I'm looking for your rush yard leaders.
Gerald Riggs.
Gerald Riggs. Gerald Riggs is the number 1 answer, Ladarius. Great job there.
I'm looking for a button. I forgot you said you showed out.
I was about to go like this. I'm like,
oh shit.
Nope,
It's
wrong
so,
show.
yo, coach, it's funny you say that because I usually lead in and say, I don't have any fancy buzzers. I should have said it tonight or reminded you. My bad. All right,
Gotcha.
Ladarius, you got it. Number one all time is Riggs. He's 6,631. You guys got control. So, Blackberry, you're up next. What do you got?
Michael Turner.
Michael Turner. Easy breezy lemon squeezy. You guys are going right down the list. Number 2, Michael Turner, 6,081. Ladarius, back to you.
I'm gonna go Warwick Dunn.
Warwick Dunn. Warwick Dunn is Warwick Dunn number 4 on this list. He is 5,981. Blackberry, back to you.
Williams. What is something? Maurice Williams.
Maurice Williams.
One strike.
Could be Mrs. Williams. No Williams on the list, my friend. Ladarius, up to you.
He knows who it is.
Let's see. I'm gonna go Michael Vick.
Michael Vick. I thought it was a smart guess, but not on this list. All right, Blackberry, you got one strike left here. Got it?
Jamal Anderson.
Jamal Anderson. It's funny because, I saw Ladarius do the Dirty Bird when you said it, and that's the first thing I did when I saw his name. I was like, it just goes naturally together.
You got to do it.
Exactly. Ladarius, there is, you got one strike, and there's only one answer left, and you seal the deal.
Oh, boy. I'm running out of Falcons running backs here. I'm going to take a punt. I'm going to say TJ Duckett.
TJ Duckett?
Stop it. Get some help.
It kind of sounded like Ladarius said, fuck it. All right, Coach, you and Keith got a chance to steal.
Can we talk about it, or do we just have to
talk? Yes, that's okay to
It's Andrews, right, Coach?
Answer.
Gerald Riggs.
No, it's William Andrews, right?
Gerald Riggs.
Gerald Riggs.
They said Riggs.
Harry said Riggs. He was number 1 all time.
William Andrews,
He said William Andrews then, yes. He did say Riggs first. Okay.
So William Andrews to steal it.
Yeah.
Old school.
I knew it was William something. Shit.
It's Marcus Williams.
That's what happens when you get the old heads together. They can pull out the old school names on you. All right, so let's go to round number 2. Good job, Coach and Keith. You're up 1-0. It's Blackberry against Keith. Question number 2 and top 5 answers on the board. I'm going to still all-time Falcons history, but I'm going to winning percentage. And I want to know all-time, who are the teams you have the best winning percentage against?
Years?
The teams?
Have the best winning percentage against?
Correct.
Okay.
Let's go Carolina Panthers.
The Panthers. They are on this list. They are number 2 at 35-21 all time with a 625 winning percentage. That means, however, Blackberry, you got a chance to steal if you can get the number 1 answer.
I'm gonna say the Chicago Bears.
The Bears?
Damn.
All right, Keith, you guys got control. Coach, we'll go to you. You got number 2 already with the Panthers. Who else you got?
I couldn't think. That was a tough one. Jesus Christ. Indianapolis Colts.
The Colts. Not on the list. Keith, what do you say?
Let's stay in the division, and let's go the Saints. They were awful for a long time.
The Saints.
We're real close now. They're tired right now.
No cigar. Coach, there's a lot of meat on this bone. Can you take a nibble? You got one strike left.
Take it, Jesus Christ. L.A. Rams.
The Rams.
The Rams. I'm just say the Rams, huh? Because they've been everywhere.
Well, Ladarius and Blackberry, there's a lot of meat here. You guys can talk amongst yourselves. See if you can take a bite here.
Ladarius, I'm thinking the Texans.
You're thinking the Texans?
Could be one of them.
Yeah, because for some reason I had Lions in my head for some reason. So, you know what? Are you confident about Texans? You confident?
Yes, I'm confident.
Okay, so we're gonna roll Houston.
I've seen them lose to both in person on the road. So,
hey,
but there's almost every team I can say that about.
Judge in the back, he said he's confident. What do you say?
Texans?
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
I'm really curious. Who are they?
I'm confused as hell. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm going to read them off to you right now. Good job, Coach. And Keith, though, you're up 2-0. Here are your best teams. You have the best winning percentage. Number one, the L.A. Chargers is the team you're looking for. 8-4 all time against the Chargers. How about number 3 on this list was the Jacksonville Jaguars. You're 5-3 all time against the Jags. Number 4, the team I can't stand, the Jets. Suck. 8-5 on this list for you guys are all time. And to finish things off, the other New York team, the New York Giants. You guys are 14-11 all time against the New York Giants. If you don't know, now you know. But I'll tell you what, Coach and Keith about to do a sweep if Ladarius and Blackberry don't step up. It's Coach and Ladarius for question 3. Top 5 answers are on the board. Here is your question, and I'm going to stay with that theme with the winning percentage. But I'm going to go opposite. I want to know the teams you have the worst winning percentage against.
Is it really only just 5 teams? Are you sure it's not more than 5?
It's like the top averages. So
averages, okay.
New England Patriots.
The New England Patriots.
That's not. Oh, I got one. You ready?
No go on New England.
That was a no.
Ladarius, I think was that you, Coach? Who asked who said that, or was that Ladarius?
That was Blackberry that said that.
That was me that said it.
That was a disqualification automatic anyway.
Hey, I gotta go on the other screen when this is going on, so I can't even tell. All right, well, Blackberry, you took up Ladarius' turn. All right, Coach.
I didn't know. I'm sorry.
I'm gonna say Pittsburgh.
You said the Pittsburgh Steelers. Where you at, Judge? He's fired. Pittsburgh Steelers are on this list. They are they're number 2 on this list, actually. You're 2-15-1 all time against the Pittsburgh Steelers. You guys got control. Can you close this out? Keith, what do you got next?
So it is us?
Yes, sir.
What's a new franchise? Let's go the Ravens.
The Baltimore Ravens.
Sorry.
Ooh, you got it at number 4. The Ravens. You guys are 2-5 all time against Baltimore Ravens. Coach, you got another one?
Chiefs.
The Chiefs.
Uh,
5 on this list. You guys are 3-7 all time. So right now, all you're missing is number 1 and number 3. What do you got, Keith?
The Green Bay Packers.
The Packers? All right, Coach, what do you got?
49ers.
The 49ers.
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
This is hard.
This is not an easy subject for sure. This is testing that fanhood, no doubt.
I don't know how the 49ers ain't one of them.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I went over NFC West. That's what I went. That's what I was thinking when I did that.
All good. So Blackberry and Ladarius, look, let me just paint this picture for you. There's not a lot of meat here. You guys got 2 ways to get back in this game. If you don't get it, you're out. It's over. Ladarius and Blackberry, talk it out. Tell me the team you have the worst winning percentage. Number 1 is up there.
What you thinking, Ladarius?
My initial thought was to stay in the NFC West, and I was going to go Seattle. But then, because the Green Bay was the first one I had, and it went off the board.
And I was thinking Cowboys.
Keep it going.
Hey, man. You call it, man. Whichever one. I got the last one wrong, so you can get it.
Great, yeah. Put the onus on me. That's the way it works. Great.
No stress. We're not winning anything here, so you're all right. You're all right.
Hot potato. Okay, so want to go with Seattle?
Let's do it.
Let's go with Seattle.
The Seattle Seahawks. All right, where you at, dude?
You idiot.
Ooh, that means a clean sweep tonight.
Age has its advantage.
So let's go to the answers here. How about number 1 on this list? Coach, you actually said it before, but on the other side, it's the Colts. You guys are 2-15 all time against the Colts.
Remember Julio dropping that wide open touchdown versus the Colts a few years ago.
If you think that hurts, how about number 3, the Cleveland Browns? You guys are 4-12 all time against the Brownies.
Well, they have a lot of good quarterbacks in their last, 2 decades, so that makes sense.
I don't think I've been alive long enough to see all those losses to the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, I don't.
Like I said, like he said, age has its advantage. But no matter what, tonight, you guys are tonight's winners.
Way to go, Coach.
Wow. That's crazy.
Music ain't play.
These teams was weird. That's weird.
Holy hallelujah, we've done it.
Batman.
For Ladarius. Ladarius already knows, but Ladarius been on the show before. He kind of knows what's coming.
Yeah, I don't like what's coming up next.
Ladarius,
I've been there, Ladarius. I know.
When you have a winner on our show, you ultimately have a loser.
Dumbass. Thank these. They call me dumbass. Dumbass. Thank these. They call me dumbass.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
You got new graphics for it though. Same music.
Hey, it's a whole new year. It's a whole new year. But I had to keep that song, bro. I found that song. I literally, and by the way, I think it's Bojack. I've written to this guy so many times. I'm like, I just had this one little song up there. I'm like, listen, man, I love your song. We play it on our show all the time. He still don't respond to me, man. Come on, come holler at me. Anyway, congratulations, guys. What a great game. You guys are great. We're going to take a commercial break and come back with our fantasy focus. But before we do that, this is the time where we're going to give you guys a chance to plug yourselves. That way, if you want to dip out there in a commercial, it's cool. Ladarius, I'll go to you first. Where can we follow, subscribe, get all your great content, my friend?
You can get all of it here on my Twitters. You see Ladarius at Ladarius_Brown there on Twitter, and that's also I'm on TikTok as well. It's Ladarius_Brown on Instagram. I write for Sportskeeda. They're featured writer there. I'm everywhere. Like everywhere. Sometimes I don't want to be hearing that music, but I'm here. Yeah.
Gotta love it. Well, he is everywhere, and he's here for your article. So go follow, subscribe, get all his great content. Blackberry, how about you, my friend? Where can we get all your great content?
You can find me mostly on YouTube, Blackberry Lyrics. That's Blackberry, no C, just a K. You can find me like that on YouTube. That's Twitch, Twitter. That's also on YouTube as well. So that's where you can find me at. And you can also find me on AFN, Atlanta Falcons Nation, where we like to cut up and we like to give you nothing but the stats, the facts, and the truth, baby. So that's where you can find me.
Gotta love it. Go follow, subscribe, like, get all the great content from our boy. All right, Coach, how about you? Where can we follow, subscribe, get all your great content?
On YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram. You can find me at Coach Unchained. Just type in Coach Unchained. You will find me. I'm there. I'm always there. I'm the Saturday morning, man. You want to put on Saturday morning? Come find me. I'm there. And also, same thing like Blackberry. AFN, man. Family strong. That's where we at. So
I love it, man. We appreciate you being in and representing the old heads tonight. How about Keith? Welcome in, my friend. We love having you. Where can we follow, subscribe, get all your great stuff?
Sure. My Twitter handle, which is below, it's at Keith Fleming, all spelled out. That's KeithFleming. I am the director of DFS content for Fantasy and Frames. It's a great website, great YouTube page. Be sure to subscribe to that. I also write and host a show on golf, DFS, and gambling for Fantasy Six Pack. I have a weekly article. It's at fantasysixpack.net. And again, the show is 2 Off the Tee on Fantasy Six Pack's YouTube channel. Check that out. And then every Wednesday, I go on ESPN Northwest Florida Radio from 1 p.m. Eastern to about 1:40 p.m. Eastern. Right now, we are talking golf. We do DFS and gambling, but when football season rolls around, we're going to change along with it. And we'll go from doing golf stuff to football, try to give you the best DFS plays I can. Would appreciate the follow. We had a great year last year on our Daily Fix show. Me and my buddy Joe, who's a freaking genius. A lot of long shots and a cheap play. So if you play DFS, be sure to check us out.
Nice. Listen, Keith, he's everywhere. He's got golf. He's got football. He does it all. Keith, by the way, we got 2 golf shows on our network. We need to get you on those. Like
anytime. I've had a winner in 6 out of the last 10 events, so I've been hot this year.
All right. So yeah, let's get our boy. We gotta get some guys together here. I love it. All right. So listen, like I said, you guys are more than welcome to stick around. We're gonna deep dive into the Atlanta Falcons with some fantasy focus. We're gonna take a quick break though. And like I said, if you want to dip out though, we do appreciate you having you tonight.
Fantasy Sports Corp and Underdog Fantasy have teamed up to start your fantasy season off in the win column with Best Ball. What is Best Ball? It's quite simply the easiest way to win. No team management, no trades, no waivers. It's their biggest contest ever and it has only gotten bigger. You simply have to sit and win. You don't even have to set your lineup. Always get your best score every week. Just enter a contest, draft your team, and Underdog will do the rest. What could make this even better? How about free money, up to $100 using our exclusive promo code? Go online now and use the promo code TSS to double your deposit up to $100. You tell them Gingerbread sent you. Good girl.
Well, I love it when we get back and the majority of the guests are in. All right, let's get it on. Let's get our fantasy focus on for the Atlanta Falcons. Well, Well, if you can't tell by the graphics, someone's from Miami. All right, let's talk about those Atlanta Falcons. Desmond Ridder. All right, so let's get into it, right? I mean, it's his show now. There's no Marcus Mariota and halfway in, halfway out. He obviously gives you the advantage on the ground too. He likes to run the football, obviously. Little bit lacking a little bit with accuracy, a little bit, again, but he's a rookie. Right now, as far as my fantasy QBs are concerned, if I'm going in, he's not a QB1 for me. He's borderline a QB2, quite frankly, because this offense, like you guys talked about a lot, it's going to be, for me, a lot of run heavy. So I'm just not putting a lot of stock in Desmond Ridder this year. Justin, you've been sitting around the back. What do you say?
Got him at number 22 right now. I think it's got all the makings of a good year for him. He's got B. John Robinson, who I think is going to be a stud. He's got Drake London on the outside. He's got Kyle Pitts coming over the middle, who can also be a perimeter receiver. It's just, and a lot of people forget, he's very capable as a running quarterback. So you can never discount the ability, the mobility aspect for these guys. And for me, I look at that and I go, okay, I can bump you up automatically over the Jimmy Garoppolos, over the Mac Jones, over all these guys that kind of fill in the monotonous, 20 to 30 range. And I can kind of find a little spot for you at the top of the 20 range with that 22.
He's like, come on, Desmond. I got a little spot for you up here. Like, come up here. All right, Judge Jordan, what do you say, my friend?
Unfortunately, I do not got a spot for Desmond Ridder that high. I've got him down at 26. Yeah, I get it. He can run. Here's the thing I think about the Falcons is I feel like this offense is built to win right now. They've got pieces. They've got weapons. If he can step in and do the job, sure, he may shoot up that draft board. However, I think Taylor Heineke was a sneaky offseason pickup, and I think he is somebody that if Desmond Ridder falters, I am much more interested in as a streaming option in the second half of the season.
I can't even believe you're.
Are you serious? We could have gone out and got Lamar Jackson, and we didn't. That shows how much they want Ridder to be the
Keith, let me help you with something right here. With this little tradition we have on our show.
We haven't had that in a couple episodes, so I'm glad that I got to bring it back.
And well deserved. All right, Keith, what do
you
say?
For me, Commish, the answer is always yes. But I think that people are sleeping on Ridder as a fantasy QB. Look at what Mariota did fantasy-wise last year. The playbook did not change that much once Ridder took over, and Mariota was a borderline QB1. I have him around like QB 16, 17 preseason, but if he ends up being a much better passer than Mariota, he could end up being a real sleeper this year because, again, he's got two great weapons in London and Pitts. We know they're going to run the ball. They should score points. That's something the Falcons have done under Arthur Smith every year. And if, say, he's running for – 20, 30 yards a game. That's huge. We saw it with Mariota last year. Those extra points, particularly in the standard leagues, are so big. If he gets a couple of rushing touchdowns here and there, which Mariota did last year, that's so big. I'm not saying that, obviously he's not a top 10 quarterback or anything like that, but I do think there's a good chance he could end up being like that fringe QB1 by the end of the year or, even earlier if the offense is as good as I think it's going to be. And he's able to complete passes, which is a very valid concern that you made. His accuracy is an issue, but we've learned with Josh Allen and other guys that you can improve accuracy in the NFL. We used to think you couldn't. That's not true anymore. And also, if you have good play callers, you put QBs in positions to where they can complete more passes. And you know what helps complete passes? When you got receivers that are 6'4" and 6'5", like Drake London and Kyle Pitts. So I do think that Ridder is actually a pretty safe QB in the range he's going in, and I think he has a much higher upside than the QBs around him.
I like it. Blackberry, what say you?
Well, I don't know where I put him as far as fantasy quarterbacks goes, but I will tell fantasy players this. I play a little bit of fantasy. I'll say this: he's gonna score touchdowns. He's gonna score on the ground. He's gonna score in the air as well. He's not gonna air it out, score touchdowns, but he's going to be reliable in red zone situations, on his feet or with his arm. The guy has moxie, y'all. He knows how to score touchdowns. So I'm seeing anywhere between 6 to 8 rushing touchdowns towards the end of the season, and somewhere around, I don't know, maybe 18 to 22 passing touchdowns. That's what I'm looking at. He's going to score touchdowns. He's going to be reliable with protecting the ball. He's not going to lose you many points. He's only going to get you points. So that's what I give you.
I love it. I love it. Ladarius, what do you say,
to
my friend?
Blackberry's point there, Jalen Hurts had that same formula, finished QB 9.
Yep, 100. Absolutely. I
Like I
like
said,
it.
Mariota, I believe, was QB 12 or 13 when he lost the job, and he couldn't throw a pass to anybody, but just because the little bit of running and, again, a good offense.
I like it. I like
You
it.
can't forget Arthur Smith made Ryan Tannehill a QB.
Exactly.
So.
Yep. Very good point.
And if he can make Ryan Tannehill now, Ladarius, what do you say?
Hey, Matt Ryan looked good, and look what, again, Ryan was washed. We learned that when he got to Indy.
Ladarius, how about you? Right, where you got him at?
You know what? I'm kind of where Justin is actually. I have him in the 20, but I think there's potential for him to be a top 15 quarterback. I think all of you alluded to the point of his versatility. I think, being kind of having some good wheels kind of helps you as a fantasy quarterback to get those extra yards, extra points. And, what's interesting to me is that when I look back, and I think I talked about this earlier, like, it's not a lot on tape, those 4 games, but I saw enough where, listen, if the accuracy can be improved, and like Keith said, we've seen that, hey, accuracy, something maybe 15, maybe 10, 15 years ago, we wouldn't have said no. But now when we see guys like the Josh Allens of the world, and that guy's a perennial MVP candidate, and he can improve his accuracy, I mean, I'm not saying, Ritter's going to be like a top 5, 10 guy, but like I say, Ritter has the pieces around him. And I think that is key if you want to help your quarterback, get the pieces. You got Bijan. Bijan's going to more than likely, like I alluded to earlier, he's going to probably kind of bounce more on the outside. He's going to probably be a receiver type player. You got Pitts, and and also, you look at Mac Hollins. Like, listen, I'm not saying Mac Hollins. I'm not going to say they're going to set the world on fire.
He's better than the midgets we had last year.
Exactly. So when you have that sort of, getting the ball to them makes it a little bit more easier for a guy second year in the league. I think that his, at the worst, he's a QB maybe 22, 23, but there's a ceiling for him to be maybe a QB in the top QB 15 at season's end.
I love it. I love it. And I just want to say, I saw Coach's comment. Thank you, Coach. We do appreciate you being in. He said it's family dinner time. I just want to know what's for dinner, Coach. You just look like you're eating good tonight. Whatever it is, I just know Coach is eating good, right? He just looks like he's eating good, whatever it is. All right, let's get it on. Let's talk about the running back position, the meat and potatoes of this. As Keith alluded to, you guys have a identity here, and it's the running back, the run first position here. Bijan Robinson, you got a young workhorse. That's all there is to it. The consensus #1 RB all the way around. Listen, we got a lot of people in the house. I don't like to sit here and waste my breath, and there's no reason for me to. This guy is going to be money when it matters all season long. They're going to ride him out. I got him as my RB #8. You still have Tyler Algier and Cordarrelle Patterson. From what I understood and what I read, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but they were going to line up Cordarrelle a lot more as a receiver, is from what I understood. So I didn't see him eating into Bijan as much as maybe Tyler Algier will, but I still see Bijan being that big-time workhorse. He's young. Why not? Let's get it on. Justin, what say you?
This team led the league in rushing attempts last year. It's very likely that both Algier and Bijan have very good seasons this year. I got Bijan at running back 2 overall. And it's because generational talents tend to do really well in their first year. You look at Saquon Barkley. He finished 4th. Ezekiel Elliott, he finished 2. Even you look at some of the guys who weren't nearly as spectacular but got drafted really high. Leonard Fournette finished 8th. These are guys that kind of really changed the game and changed their teams when they came in. that's kind of the role that I see Bijan Robinson having. Now, I think Tyler Algier will definitely have a role in this offense. He might be more of a touchdown gobbler near the end. And I'll just say this, I can see Algier finishing at 37, and that's where I have him right now. I can see him being a very solid. I love it. Yeah. I need to get to a crab house and give me some food.
I was just gonna wait till you're done. I was gonna talk about it. Go ahead.
Well, you put the points in and everything, drawing attention to it. We get it, bro.
I interrupted you. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'd rather be eating that food too than listen to me talk.
That was my stomach talking, Justin. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
It's all good. It's all good. Late night munchies, the gummies will do that to you. I understand. But I'm pretty much finished up. Bijan's going to be 2. Algier, I got 37. I think Algier is still a fine flex pick for people.
Yeah. In fact, he to me this year reminds me of the years that, when you had the Chubb and Kareem Hunt almost. I mean, he's like that guy that you need to pick up. If you're definitely going Bijan, you got to pick up Algier. And guess what? You might have some decent little games just throwing him in your flex spot sometimes. So, Judge, what do you say?
So I feel like Justin broke into my locker, Tom Brady style, and stole the playbook because look, man, Bijan Robinson RB1 season incoming. I have him as RB number 1 overall. He's healthier than Christian McCaffrey. He's better than Austin Eckler. The Atlanta Falcons absolutely love running the ball. They have turned people like Cordero Patterson, as well as Tyler Algier, who I really don't think are all that great, into really good, viable fantasy assets. I'm a Longhorn fan. Bijan Robinson is absolutely the real deal. He's the best thing to come through that school since Vince Young. Justin literally took everybody off of my sheet except for Alvin Kamara and Jonathan Taylor. Those top end running backs, they produce right away, and usually it's one of the better seasons of their career. Give me all the Bijan. If he's on the clock and Justin Jefferson is not on that draft board, I'm picking him every single time.
Ooh, wait. Listen, let me ask you this, though, because it sounded like you were correcting me there. Is it Cordell? I thought it was Cordarrelle.
Cordero. I've heard it.
Cordero.
You know what? I think from now on, he deserves the respect. We're just gonna call him Mr. Patterson up in here.
Does that remind you of corduroys or something? Corderell?
After this one, he said it was Cordarrelle is how you said it one time.
After this season, you'll never have to talk about Cordero Patterson again. So
I disagree.
Bijan Robinson to the
with you a little. I disagree with you a little. I think we're gonna still see a little bit of little magic from Mr. Patterson. All right, Blackberry, what do you say, friend?
I think Tyler Algier is actually sneaky good, man. For you fantasy folks, I want people to remember something here. If you didn't know, in college, he actually had more receiving yards than Bijan Robinson. And in this offense with Arthur Smith, you never know what direction they're going to hit you in. Whether you can have Tyler Algier have a game where he shows out in the passing game. He might tear up the field in the running game most of the season, but they might have a game where they sneak him out there in some flats, sneak him out there up some seams. You never know. Everybody in this backfield is capable. This offensive line for the Falcons is going to make everybody in the backfield look really good. They're going to make them look even better than what they are. And everybody back there is already really good. So fantasy-wise, I mean, you really can't go wrong with anybody. Tyler Algier, Cordero Patterson, especially Bijan Robinson, who we know is going to be dynamic. And, heck, I mean, it was a point last season where Caleb Huntley and Tyler Algier together, they was ripping teams apart. I mean, they both had consecutive weeks for about 3 or 4 consecutive weeks before Caleb Huntley got hurt. They were tearing it up in fantasy. So you really can't go wrong with anybody in this backfield.
I agree 100%. Ladarius, how about you?
You know what? I really like Algier, but the Bijan Robinson, because to me, I don't think they necessarily clash against one another, because I think like like mentioned earlier, I think Bijan's not going to be much in the backfield as much as Algier's going to be the guy in the backfield, given his 1,000-yard season. And last season, it's just interesting to me how Arthur Smith divvies up the snaps that Bijan gets this season. That to me is going to be the key. I'm going to assume that he's going to get his fair share of the workload, and it's going to be interesting to see. Now we have Cordero going on the outside. That kind of opens up a little bit more. And you kind of look at Algier. I think Algier is a guy, like I say, sneaky 1,000-yard season last year. And he's not necessarily a threat in the passing game. But the way Arthur Smith is building this team, he's made it clear that he's going just to move things around. It's going to be a little unconventional. I mentioned earlier, it kind of reminds me of positionless, like it's like basketball when we talk about positions, where it's kind of feel like it's positionless, where it's just we just say they're a running back, but really you can put Bijan, put him out there, and that guy go out there and make some big plays in the passing game. So I just look at and I go back, listen, I just think that Algier is not one to be ignored in this. And Cordell Patterson, even at 30, I think he's 30, he's going to be 32 going into the season. He's still about, I tell people, listen, he's put him at receiver. He was a pretty good receiver. I'm not saying he was a pretty good, solid receiver before he came to Atlanta. He go back to kind of help vet off the wide receiving core. It kind of rounds up the offense, and I think Bijan will be the main beneficiary and kind of complement Algier as well in the running game.
I'm with it. Keith, what do you say?
I think that people are sleeping on Algier, and he's actually the better value in fantasy drafts than Bijan. I mean, you look last year, the Falcons had 4 different runners, if you include the QB, that had 75-plus carries. They're going to use all 4 backs. I actually think that the guy's talking about him in the passing game. I do think in PPR leagues, I would take Bijan, with the number 1 or number 2 pick. I'd be a little nervous to take him in a traditional league as the number 1 or number 2 pick because I do think Cordell Patterson's still going to be using the red zone because Arthur has loved both years giving the ball to Cordell when we get in close because he's such a massive guy. And Algier was so good down the stretch. I mean, he had 220-yard games in his last 4. And a reminder, we had a rookie QB, and Drake London was literally the only receiver out there. So teams were zoning in on the run, and he was just running the ball down their throat. It's amazing to watch him. I understand if you don't watch Falcons games, you don't get it. That dude never goes down on the first guy that hits him or usually even the second. And he's going to get you 3-4 yards every single time he touches the ball. I would be shocked if he doesn't get at least 10 to 15 carries every game. If he ends up being the guy in the red zone, I think some people are going to be a little disappointed that say they took Bijan with the 1st or 2nd pick and they could have got Algier, say, the 6th, 7th round, and the point differential is not that different. And again, I am not knocking Bijan. He's unbelievable, but we don't know how they're going to use him yet. I think it's going to be a lot of receiving. I mean, from what I've heard from camp and stuff, they're using him in a lot of receiving drills, and he's showing that off left and right. And again, Arthur Smith is as brilliant of I really do think that play caller as there is in the NFL. And again, we're talking about, well, how can we get Ritter going? What's a good way to do that? Throwing short little passes to a guy with the athletic ability of Bijan Robinson that can take a 2-yard pass and turn it into a 40-yard play. So I just, again, if it's a non-PPR league, I just would be a little bit careful because I don't know like how many carries he's going to get per game, how many red zone touches, etc. But for Algier, I'm loading up on him this year. Like in every draft I've had this year, I'm not afraid to take him after like the 4th or 5th round because, I mean, injury, obviously he'd be a huge guy to have, but I think he's going to get it because, I mean, again, last year, Algier, 200 carries, Patterson, 144, Mariota, 85, Caleb Huntley, 76. He likes to move it around, and for what they're trying to do, which is control the clock, that's the easiest way to do it, right? You keep a fresh guy going, you keep moving the chains, keep entering them in and out. So just be careful with the Bijan. I don't know if he's going to be quite the workhorse everybody thinks he is, but that doesn't mean he's not going to be incredible.
Yeah, I love it. I love the take there, Keith. Got to keep your eyes on that. Matt Mike Sports checking in, amazing content. We're loving your vibe too. If you're watching, Go on to Mad Mike's page as well. Go follow, subscribe, get all his great content as well. Let's go on to the receiver position. And listen, I got one name for you. It's Drake London, right? I mean, right now. And listen, again, this is what makes this summer tour interesting for us as we go and look at these teams. Traylon Burks is on those in the same situation as pretty much Drake London, but maybe even a little better with the QB situation. Drake London right now, it's Drake London, Matt Collins, Scotty Miller. I mean, it's Drake London, right? Or it's really as
it's
Keith
London
alluded,
and Pitts.
right? That's what I was about to say.
And Robinson. I think
earlier,
they're going to be 1, 2, 3 in targets this year. I really do.
I literally was about to say, as you alluded to earlier, it's more Drake and Pitts is really it. So receiver position-wise, you got to like where he's sitting right now. I got him 19th overall. I could see him going up. I basically, because again, looking at where this Atlanta team sits, as Keith alluded to earlier, I don't know how much this defense has improved from last season. So what does that mean? You're going to have to eventually start throwing it to get into these football games when you face some of these teams. So, again, I like the chances of Drake London to be that big dude. And, again, he finished last year a wide receiver 43, right? Again, we all know the woes of the the quarterback position last year. But I know Keith has got a bunch of great stats he's going to throw at you about Drake, so I'm not going to bore you with mine. Let's go on to Justin first. Oh, what do you say, my friend? Where you got Drake?
So I'll bore you with my stats here. So I was not a fan of him coming out of USC, and I'll tell you why. Because when you look at all the tape on him in USC, you see the glaring hole is that he's not a good route runner and his separation is terrible. And so I looked it up. His separation last year ranked 79th in the league. That's not very good. His contested catch rate, now, albeit I will say this, his target quality rate was 27. So obviously this guy was not good getting any good targets from Mariota or Ritter, but who knows, that could carry over too. His contested catch rate was 31%. That's 83rd in the league. I mean, this guy's supposed to be 6'4". He's supposed to be able to go up and get the ball, and he was doing it at a clip of about 1 in every 3 times. So for me, I'm looking at this, and then I'm looking at this offense kind of shrinking. What if Bijan Robinson is also a designated kind of like slot receiver type person? You know what I mean? Like, what if he is the guy that's just the check down guy who's getting all the targets? Where's that target's going to come from? Is it going to come from Pitts and come from London? It's going to be a little bit of each. And then you have to look at this offense is structured. Arthur Smith, he's a run genius, but that's it. Like, you look at his pass in Tennessee, you look at his passes last year. What did he do? He loves to run the ball 400 to 500 times a year. Like, he loves running backs. That's why he went out and got a second one. That's why he went out and got a second, he got a first round pick to go along with Tyler Algier, who just had 1,000 yards. Because he's probably going to try and run the ball like 400 to 600 times this year. So for me, I'm looking at this as Drake London is probably a really valuable wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3, and you really shouldn't pay up for him. I think that the hype behind him this year is probably going through the roof. I'm not going to pay up for him. You guys can have him at your wide receiver 1 prices. I'm going to stick at wide receiver 28.
So I wish I'm going to get the sound effect. Womp, 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 womp. That's all I just heard right now. Let's go, Jordan. What do you say?
I really like Drake London coming out of college. And I really like everything about this Falcons offense except for that quarterback. And you guys made some really good points earlier, and I think I'm going to move him from 26th on my list to 28th on my list as far as quarterbacks. I just don't believe in Ritter. And because of that, I can't put all of my faith in either Kyle Pitts or Drake London. And so I still have him as wide receiver 22. I still think he's a respectable play, and I think he's going to have some pop games because I do believe in the kid's talent, but I'm not expecting him to be an every week starter in my fantasy lineup.
Nice. All right. Well, Ladarius, let's go to you.
If you look at Drake London last season, he had 117 targets, I believe, last season. And he had 72 receptions. Drake London does have value. Now, the question becomes, and I think it's alluded to here, how many of those targets now shift toward Bijan Robinson? Because essentially, like I said, it really depends with the way Arthur Smith has structured this offense. It feels like Bijan's going to be a little bit more of a receiver than he's going to be of a runner. Now, does Drake loses a little value, but I don't feel he loses a whole lot of value. And with that being said, I kind of have him in that wide receiver, maybe 20 to 25 range, because I just believe in Drake. And like I said, I heard Justin's amazing stats about the separation and, and all of that jazz, and like I said, all that's true. But the reality is he's the guy. And the reality is Desmond Ridder, there's some sort of connection. It's something there. And I feel like it's hard to miss a guy Drake London size. So it's just a matter of how many targets is he going to get 117 targets this year? I don't know. Like I said, I think some of that kind of gets divvied up now. But the reality is I still think he's a viable option. I think he could have low wide receiver 2, could be a sneaky wide receiver 1 guy. I think Arthur Smith is going to just figure it out offensively, and I think Keith has said it. Great offensive mind. He's going to figure out everyone's going to eat. There's a whole big piece of cake. Everyone's going to get at least a slice. Some slices may be bigger than others, but there will be slices to be given out.
Keith, I'm ready for your stats to counter Justin. I'm going to sit back. Let's hear it.
So he had 6 or more targets in 12 games last year with Marcus Mariota as quarterback, and we knew they weren't throwing the football. He was 21st in air yards, which, again, Marcus Mariota, I think he was near the top in unrealized air yards. That's not a surprise. He saw 15 red zone targets. Again, when we got in the red zone, we were running. So that means when they were throwing in the red zone, they were going to Drake London a lot. And I really disagree about like the separation. He in college was always open. And it's hard to believe a guy 6'4" is open all the time. It's just like last year. It's hard to believe a guy that big is going to end up catching, 70-something passes as a rookie with Marcus Mariota as his quarterback. The games once Mariota was gone, he went nuts. We know him and Ridder have a connection. And again, I get that Pitts was out for that, and that's a very fair thing. But London is going to lead this team in targets. He's going to lead this team in receptions. And unless Kyle Pitts just has a monster year, he's going to leave it in yards and I think in touchdowns. And I appreciate the guys, saying the Falcons D is going to be good. No, it's not. We're going to be bad on defense again. We're not going to be able to get at the quarterback. I don't really like the moves. I like Bates. I like some of the kids that they've got in the last couple of years, but I still think you got to pressure the quarterback. You got to stop the run. We can't do either of that. And I don't think a 37-year-old pass rusher is going to make us rush the passer any better. And I don't think we have an answer yet for the run game. I mean, we gave up 4,500 yards on the ground the last 2 years. And that's where my frustration was with the Bijan pick. It's like, okay, so Jalen Carter, a definite difference maker on the run game, is right there. We gave up 4,500 yards the last 2 years. We've rushed for about 3,500 with 6-round picks and guys that never played running back. And we're going to take Bijan. He's a luxury. We're the Falcons. We can't afford luxuries. But anyway, I'm sorry I got sidetracked there. We're gonna give up points, and it's gonna mean we're in a lot of high scoring games. And I think Falcons players across the board on offense, like they're gonna be great for fantasy. They really are. And not to mention the schedule is cake. Some of the defenses we're playing this year are not good. Like not good. We're gonna be playing like the Titans, who last year were just any team that played against them. You want to throw for 300 yards and have a receiver have 200 yards receiving? Play the Titans. The division, I don't know how good the defenses in the division are. Saints are kind of falling off. I do think the Panthers might be legit. Tampa Bay, their defense is kind of falling off. Between the schedule and everything and the fact that we're going to give up points like we are, we're at least another year away, I believe, before we're going to be a good defense. But I think our offense is going to score plenty of points, and Drake London is he's going to get peppered with targets. He averaged 11 targets in the 4 games that he played with Desmond Ritter. He averaged 7 receptions. He had almost 100 yards receiving per in those games. Again, I know Pitts is out, so take a little percentage of that. But if you're telling me a guy's going to average 7.5 targets a game and 4.5 receptions and see basically a red zone target every single game, a little bit more than that, sign me up. Like, I mean, I'm not saying take him, above the top 15 receivers in the game, but yeah, I would much rather have him than Treylon Burks and a lot of these other guys, because his only real competition for the numbers that really matter, which is throwing the ball down the field, red zone touchdowns, is Kyle Pitts. And as high as I am on him, we have to see. We've seen London and Ritter together. We know they work. We know they have a connection. I think London's going to have a really good year. I think he's a great receiver. I don't think he got enough, of the love that the other receivers did last year, because he did that with Marcus Mariota. Mariota was so bad. 31st in completion percentage, 31st in passing yards, 34th in money throws. There was 33 QBs, more than franchises that made money throws than Marcus Mariota. It's going to be better. I'm not saying Ritter's going to be great, but he's going to be better than Mariota. Falcons passing game is going to be better. And I think the offense, again, it's going to be great. Take London, take Pitts, take Robinson, and take Algier. And, I mean, you'll be happy.
Blackberry, what do you say, my friends?
Well, Keith, my brother, I agree with you on a lot of what you said, but defensively, I don't know how we're not much better with Ryan Nielsen, whose defense is in this with the Skanks, with the New Orleans Skanks, averaged 46 a season for 6 seasons. And then we got guys that he's used to working with, plus we went and got other acquisitions. So I disagree with you there. But as far as I'm just looking at he's proven, the guys that they brought in are proven. You can only get better. But as far as Drake London goes, Drake London is one of those receivers who's in a system where you really have to be paying attention to this offense to see his value. And then I encourage everybody to completely disregard all of the games last season outside of the last 4, because Marcus Mariota was totally incompetent of throwing the football. He couldn't throw it to receivers. He couldn't throw it around receivers. He couldn't throw it over. He couldn't do nothing right. So, but the last 4 games, Desmond Ritter and Drake London, like Keith explained, you can see their camaraderie. You can see the chemistry that they have with one another. And not having Kyle Pitts, of course, Drake London was going to get targeted a lot more on 3rd downs. He was getting targeted a lot more in the red zone, and he was catching balls, man. I think this season he's going to be just as valuable in the red zone. In college, he had the most contested catches out of anybody in NCAA football. He's very good at going up and getting the ball. As far as separation goes, I do think he's sneaky athletic in his routes. He can get some separation. I ain't saying he out there getting separation like Tyreek Hill, but he's out there getting set. He can get enough separation where his big body is an issue for corners and for safeties. So I think in the red zone, see, the Falcons are going to be down there quite a bit because of the running game. We were 10th in 3rd down conversion percentage last season, and we were damn good at scoring in the red zone. So Drake London was a big part of that. So you can count on Drake London to get you touchdowns in the red zone, and you can count on him to convert 3rd downs for you and extend drives. So he's going to be valuable. If you see his value in fantasy, it's there a little bit. I wouldn't start him, but I damn sure have him on my team if it means him scoring touchdowns, because that's what he's going to do.
Blackberry, it sounded like a minute ago you were making the case for Marcus Mariota to be the Sam I Am of the NFL with the he cannot throw it here, throw it there, or throw it anywhere. All right, let's finish.
Not throw it anywhere.
Let's finish this bad boy up. We'll be here all night. Let's talk about the tight ends and defenses. Might as well wrap it all up into one. because quite frankly, we'll go with the defense first. I'm not drafting them, but I will look for them later on matchup wise, because as Keith alluded to earlier, there are some juicy matchups in this Falcons schedule. So again, I'm looking at them for the stream option when they play the teams like Texans and stuff like that as they go through the AFC South, especially. So again, kind of not really on my radar to draft. However, Kyle Pitts, definitely on my radar. Let me make that real easy for you guys. I got him as tight end number 5. We've been talking about him all night. He's receiver number 2 effectively. He's kind of in that Chig role where, again, we're kind of comparing the Titans offense to this Atlanta offense because it's almost pretty much the same setup as far as playmakers are concerned a little bit. Obviously, Atlanta having a lot more. I shouldn't really say that. But Kyle Pitts, you got to like him a lot this year. Coming back healthy. Got to be, again, get that rhythm going with Desmond Ridder this year. I like Kyle Pitts to bounce back. Number 5, my tight end. Justin, what say you?
Yeah, so I'm actually gonna be bold here. I'll draft the Falcons defense because honestly, like, you guys have sold me on the Falcons defense over here. You guys are great salesmen. You should go out there and start doing real estate because you sell the fucking world. Because you guys have sold me that the Falcons defense in no way, shape, or form can be nearly as bad. And you know what? It is kind of a lot like Tennessee. I wonder why that is, where they had a really good defense, an amazing run game, and then they had passing options when they needed to pass it out there. So if you guys can become the Tennessee effectively of your Southern Division, the NFC South, then you guys are going to be golden for a couple years. I will definitely take them as a flyer defense because I love to get defenses really late anyways. And if I can get the Atlanta Falcons and they cash money for me, I'm going to take it all day long. And then Kyle Pitts, tight end 7. I feel like he's still got something to prove in this league. I think he's a very talented player. I think he's more talented than Drake London and really should be the wide receiver 1 on that team. But that's not how it works. You need to play. You need to stay on the field. You need to not prove that you're not injury prone, and put up some numbers to get qualified as the technical wide receiver 1. So I think he can be the tight end 7 he can be tight end 1 this year if he really wants to be. But I think tight end 7 is a very respectable number for him, considering the offense, considering it flows really through the running game more than anything else, and considering Travis Kelce is still in the game.
Yeah, and like to Maggie T, gee, I can't even spit that out. Maggie T Productions point, Pitts is hungry. And you were alluding to earlier, like with him wanting something to prove this season. So listen, by the way, big shout out to Maggie T. Go follow, subscribe, get all her great content as well. We appreciate her. Jordan, what say you, my friend?
So I am right in between you and Justin on this one. I have him as tight end 6. I really love Kyle Pitts this season, particularly because I feel like his draft stock has fallen. And out of all the tight ends in this range, this is the only guy who can put up that tight end 1 season. This guy has the talent to be in that Kelce, that Kittle, that Andrews, insert top tight end here. I love Kyle Pitts and everything about him. Again, I think you got to discount him and knock him down a couple pegs because of Ridder, but that kid can catch fire and he can absolutely be tight end number 1. And as far as the defenses go, I'm dead on with you guys here. I'm going to be working very heavily in the streaming defenses in the NFC South for all those matchups against the Texans, for all those matchups against the Colts. Whoever draws that matchup this week, I'm in on it. I'm going to be playing all of y'all in a rotation.
No, it's true. That's why I said that's why we do these tours, man. That's all I've been talking about. We've been talking about these defenses all week. Like, wow. I'm like, I feel educated going into my drafts now. I know what defenses I'm looking for sure. Well, let's go start with Blackberry. Talk about the tight end and defense. What do you think?
Tight end, I think Kyle Pitts, tight end 1, man. He's going to come back hard, going to come back strong, dedicated, motivated, inspired to be him best self. He's going to be him best self all season long. I really believe that. You're going to see him be used a lot like how Kansas City uses Travis Kelce. Of course, we know that, it's tough when you got an incompetent quarterback trying to attempt to throw you the ball, and then you get hurt, and all you can do is just wait on next season. So I think he's gonna come back with a chip on his shoulder. I think he's hearing a lot of the buzz about how he's not living up to expectations, playing up to expectations, and I think he's gonna have a giant chip on his shoulder. He's tight end 1 in my book. And defensively, I think this defense is going to be very much improved, like I explained before. We got guys on this defense that are proven. We got coaches that are going to be coaching these guys up that are proven. Jared Gray, former All-Pro player, All-American, Super Bowl champ. I mean, he's a champion. The dude, and then he's the reason why Jair Alexander became Jair Alexander in Green Bay. He's the reason for that. He's going to be the quarterback whisperer. Ryan Nielsen, he's the pressure whisperer for the defense. He knows how to get pressure on every angle, at every level. Defensively, you can draft this defense and you can count on them to give you some quality points.
I love it. Ladarius, finish us off, my friend. Where do you got him at?
Well, listen, I think top 5, potential top tight end 1. I think, I watched him. I'm a Florida Gator fan. I've seen Kyle Pitts enough in my lifetime to know he's going to be good. I get that thumbs down a lot too, but when I watch him, I think if we get that rookie season Kyle Pitts this year, that's a tight end 1. And I think given the way, and we've talked about Arthur Smith, and we talked about how the moving pieces and how he's going to use certain players, Kyle Pitts is definitely a guy he's going to compete with Drake London for those targets. And listen, he had 59 targets in 10 games, so he was averaging close to so imagine if he stayed healthy for a full season, he would have probably got his 100 targets. So that's the upside there. But when I look at this defense, I'm excited for this defense. And I think one of the best picks I think Terry Fontenot did get Clark Phillips out of Utah. This guy was the Pac-12 Defensive Player of the Year. And this guy fell on the draft board. And you put him in that secondary. And I just went, boy, I can see some good things going there. And then when I look at, David Oyamada, Kaden Ellis, man, I'm getting it everywhere. I see Justice 28-3. I see the Florida thing. I got the music earlier. The second time I'm on the show, I get the music again. That's the real nightmare right there. When they ask what keeps you up at night, and it's just me, it's just a mirage in the background of all of those things. I'm at the president looking out the window of the White House. Nope, the Middle East is not my problem. No. I can't get over 28-3. No. But when I look at this defense, it should be much better. Like I said, Clark Phillips, and I think Yamada, Caden Ellis. To me, I think this defense can't be any worse than it was in years past. So I think with the upside and plus who we're going to, I think division-wise, I think we're going to. I'm not saying top 15 defense, but we're going to be significantly better because I felt we addressed the needs that this offseason, getting Jesse Bates. We addressed the core of our problem. Too many passing yards. We finally gave Grady Jarrett some help in the interior. So I think the defense is kind of on the rise. And, if we could even be kind of middle of the road type of defense, I think it makes that team that much better given how offensively great we are going to be.
Offensively great has been the theme tonight. I appreciate you guys. Listen, I also want to give a big shout out to the AFN Nation. Boy, they brought it tonight. They're all up in the comments, bringing the thunder. Boy, we appreciate you. If you would do us a solid, hit subscribe, hit like. You are already in the comments. We appreciate that. And hit that notifications bell. We're not done with our summer tour. Next week, we're going to the NFC North. I can't wait. I'm super excited. Actually, I take it back. We're going AFC North. I messed that up. All right. Well, listen, It's 4th of July weekend, so at the very least, enjoy your weekend. We'll be back on Monday with the Pittsburgh Steelers. We appreciate you, and we are out.